of the rim. Got it! Oh, the slam. Oh, using Curry way downtown. Oh, what a shot from Curry!
At long last, the James Harden cycle has, well, it's actually just restarted. I can't say it's ended. He is on to his next team. The cycle has been very similar over these last few years, and we've been talking about this non-stop. Philly's been trying to get it done throughout the summer. There was a lot of smoke. You would see like tweets in Daryl Morey's catalog saying that they could take their time and all this other stuff. Reality is, time is the one thing they did not have. Got an aging star in Joel Embiid. He's only just pushing 30 still in the clock cycle of a superstar that eventually wants to win a championship. That kind of is running out of time. So with James Harden, they had to go ahead and move him. It kind of felt like the Dame situation where it seemed there was exactly one team for him to go to, except this time he actually went to the rumored team. James Harden is a Clipper. He reaches this team with it keeping Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Of course, it would have made sense no other way else, except for the fact Los Angeles also retained Russell Westbrook. They retained Norman Powell. They did not even give up Terrence Mann. This deal included the Sixers sending PJ Tucker and James Harden to the Clippers for Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, welcome back, Nicholas Batum, KJ Martin, a 2028 unprotected first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, a 2029 pick swap, and an additional first-round pick from the Oklahoma City Thunder. I cannot find the tweet, but there was somebody out there before the trade details got released at 2 a.m. that said somehow OKC is going to find themselves in this deal. And yeah, that did happen. All right, so let's look what we got here. Philadelphia, aka Daryl Morey, did what they could with the restraints that they had. Once again, Harden is no longer the MVP candidate he was in Houston. He is still really good, but he's clearly slowed down a bit. Also, on the last year of his deal, it just meant that the Sixers were never gonna get a complete fix with just this one deal. You look at what they got. You've got some expiring contracts. You've got picks. What does that mean? It means you will eventually have cap space, or you will eventually be able to reroute some of these assets for hopefully a star player to come play with Joel Embiid. When you look at what they just have as the roster they're going to put on the court going forward, I had been saying, okay, cool. We've started the season. Tyrese Maxey is showing that he can be the guy with the ball in the perimeter. That works. He fits well with Embiid. I said in my last video, the roster as it's constructed isn't even actually bad. It's just not going to win a championship, and it's not going to convince Embiid to stay long term. Is that still true after this deal? Yeah, probably. I still think it's okay though. It's got versatility. What did I say in that last video when we got to the Philly section? I said in this Harden trade, they can really maybe hope that they could get in the package some type of young player. I was really thinking Terrence Mann at that point, or they can get some wings that can, in theory, shoot and defend. In theory, at least with a Nick Batum or a Rocco, that's what you've got. You look at some of the lineups that these Sixers run, and when they play small, if Embiid is not on the floor, or just what they run with Embiid, the names here make sense. Yet that's just not really the actual news here. News here is what they're angling for in the future. Clearly, you can at least play competitive basketball for the rest of the season and encouraging basketball, then say, if you've got Maxey playing at a certain level, you've got Embiid, cool. You go into next summer, and I don't think the free agents are going to be that great, so I'm not sure that the potential cap space moves me. But once again, the pick assets, the players they've got here, maybe you can make something shake for whoever becomes available, because somebody is going to become available. Hell, some of the players in this league are past due for being available. When they do get their hands on whoever said player is, will it move the needle? That remains to be seen. Once again, that's why I started the Sixers section off with saying they did what they could with the constraints. So from that perspective, I don't think Philly really came out bad here. There was never going to be a James Harden trade for player X that was going to be the number 2 to Embiid, or that was going to propel them to contention. That trade just did not exist. So if you're looking to judge it, I would just say wait for what happens in the next couple of months or into next summer before you fully judge what Philly's done. All right, so for what the Clippers have done, look at their depth chart. Behind Westbrook, Harden, George, Leonard, and Zubac, you've got Highland, Powell, Mann, Tucker, and Plumlee. Considering you just traded for what is still a really good player with Harden and a guy that offensively fits, I would say you came out in a really good place. We've been talking about Los Angeles for the better part of a year now, and just looking at their clock going, damn, they gave up a lot for this Paul George and Kawhi pairing that hasn't even had a healthy run. The idea is at least they've got to bring one. They at least have to make the finals, but also they at least just need to bring one championship to really make it worth it. As you can see with the picks that have been sent, hell, with what LA gave up in the past for Paul George, they are all in on this core. There is no idea there that they want to rebuild or look to the future after PG and Kawhi, since their deals technically don't have that much longer left. It is now or never. And look, at the end of the day, when we were reading the deal from a week or two ago that involved Terrence Mann that it was reported the Clippers didn't want to do, the general sentiment was, damn, if you can get Harden for that, you should do it. And then they kept Terrence Mann, so that's a kicker. And look at some of the lineups they can run here. I would imagine you're gonna get Harden point guard lineups, so it would go something like Harden, Powell, George, Leonard, Zubac. If there are lineups where you want to bring back center PJ Tucker, you can absolutely do that, and you'll have ball handling all over the floor, scoring, you'll have some defense because of George and Leonard, you'll have shooting. That's a situational lineup. And then when you need the size on the floor, yes, once again, you've kept Zubac and Plum. Bottom line is, this could be beautiful or this could be a train wreck. It just all depends. That might sound kind of basic just based on everything that we've seen with the Clippers though, and James Harden teams in the last year. We can either have Paul George and Kawhi in and out of the lineup, and these three barely playing games together, because for some reason that is just a curse that is following these type of teams. You go back to the Nets, you look at what's happening with the Suns now. When you got three players of this level, it just seems two of them are playing together at a time, or one guy is playing and they just never get on the floor together. So that's the start. Let's just actually see them put 10 consecutive games together so I can see it, I can believe that it's a tangible thing. And once again, with Phoenix, I do not have that right now for whatever reason. However that happened, it is just Kevin Durant. Clips have been healthy thus far. They've been playing their guys, so that's cool. And then once you get that there, if you just can start talking about the basketball, it's kind of a nightmare for other teams. We were talking about the lineups, and if you start thinking about the hypothetical we've been using for the Suns and saying, oh, Bradley Beal's gonna get the team's third best defender every night, well, in this Clippers lineup, which one of them is getting every team's third best defender? I ask because they are all still pretty good and worthy of a team's first or second best. Especially for Harden, this is actually a better situation than it was in Philly. Of course, with him and Embiid and PNR and just the idea of that being a big man and guard, it might sound like it fits better. I'm more just speaking to the fact that, again, Harden is, to me, not where he once was. So if he can settle into more of a distribution role here when he's in the starting lineup, and then kind of pace it to use the scoring when he needs to, you start playing him with some guys in the second unit, or just imagine the fact that you're always gonna have, in theory, at least two of these guys on the floor at the same time. At a minimum, you will have one. You could go something like Harden, Powell, Mann, Tucker, Zubac. You can get some pick and roll there, get some pick and pop. The floor is spaced. Harden can just go to work. There's a lot of angles for them to attack from. Hell, with Harden on the bench, their lineup just looks like one of the units they might have used before he was even on the team. Westbrook, overall, the Clipper experience for him has been a lot better than he's been in the last few years. So when it's a Westbrook, Powell, George Leonard, Zubac / Plum's lineup, that's just until Harden gets back. That is an interesting conversation though, what the starting lineup will be, given that Russ has had the nod. Is it going to bother him if they do what I think they should do and move him to the bench? Especially with the talents here and how many of these guys like to use the ball, I would for sure say that Westbrook as the sixth man kind of makes a lot of sense. I can obviously see you will at points put Westbrook, Harden, George, and Leonard on the floor together. If I was starting it though, I'm going PG Harden. Better shooter than Westbrook, still probably a better game manager. That's just going to be a nightmare for opposing teams. That's where I would go with it. So that's going to be fun, just tracking what the Clippers do over these next few weeks. I just really want them to all be there together, and once that happens, they have to do something. This Clippers team cannot go out in the second round. They have leveraged everything on the present, as they should have. You can't half step when you've invested in a core like they had before Harden was even there. It's very early in the season, but I would say the Western Conference so far has looked like the Denver Nuggets and then everyone else. I am unsure that there is a long-term clear number two, so it's not unfair to expect the Clippers to produce at that level, to at a minimum become the clear number two. They should. Whether they do or not, that'll remain to be seen. I'm just glad that another Harden cycle has been completed. He's got to be running out of these. He's gotten a little bit up there in age. It's another contract year. This, I would not wager that it's the last one. I also just can't imagine. There's just no way this will happen again. There's just no way we're gonna go through another cycle of he plays, they should contend, maybe they don't. He gets upset with something, he asks out. There's just no way there's another one left. Yeah, that's what I think about the trade for the Clippers. And then once again, if you're Philly, hang tight. You've got a roster that should be able to put a good product on the floor for a while, and then you have something you did not have when you went to sleep yesterday. You have a path to get Embiid something and convince him to stay. Whether they do it or not, I don't know, because it's the prospect of an OG Anunoby or a Zach LaVine really gonna move him? If that becomes the names that are thrown around, especially given the strength of the league, is that what's gonna end up doing it? It's just, who knows? None of us have a crystal ball. Let me know what you think about the trade for both teams. How do you think they'll both fare, and how far will the Clippers go? If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and also hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications every time a new video drops, after you subscribe as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.